All right, question of the day. What is your favorite game all about where you get to be a fan of something? Well, to be fair, that's kind of a niche game genre because I can only think of three examples. I can think of Comic Hunters, maybe Millennium Blades, and then, of course, this. This would be Stamp Swap. Well, and I guess Penny Black would count too. So that's four. So which of those four is your favorite? But let me know in the comments below what your favorite game about being a fan of something is. Because today we're taking it back to philately. That would be Stamp Swap. Now, if you've watched our Penny Black review, and I highly recommend you go watch the intro at least, tremendous acting, if I do say so myself, we take a look at, how it plays. Now, I'm not going to do a side-by-side comparison today. I was going to do that, but you can actually just go watch the two reviews together and see the differences because, yes, they're both about collecting stamps, but this one has a tweak to its mechanics that really changes what happens. So, without further ado, let's take a look right now at Stamp Swap from Stonemaier Games. It's a review copy of the game that I played, so I'm pretty excited about what I think about Stamp Swap. So let's take a look right now. All right, this is Stamp Swap laid out. Now, you have your personal player board with no ridges at all, so stuff's going to slide and slip all over here. That is one gripe I have later, you'll see. Each board has a printed on it goal, so this is animal stamps. So I'm trying to collect animal stamps. You have these stamps, which are right here. Stamps for those scamps when you like to play. Now, the way this works is you're going to lay these stamps out each round based on three of these cards. You'll take three of them, and you'll lay them in such a way as this, where the bottom goal is the only one shown. So it randomizes the actual stamp selection while putting a round condition out there. Now, if these were in a different order, you'd have this, see? So you'll put these out. You'll take the stamps as they are laid out here. Let me take the little box lid off and you'll see the different shapes of them. So that would be two of these, one of these face down, one of these face down, and then a forever stamp. Now, sometimes you'll have these cards over here, which would be the cards of the different things like specialist or what's the other word? Specialist or exhibitor. So these will be things that you can score points with and break rules with. That's the point of the card. So you may go for cards instead. What you're going to do is you're going to draft out these stamps till you have 6 items. Now, these different items could be the stamps themselves, the forever stamps included, the face down ones. If you take a face down one, it stays face down until you start to place it. And that'll matter in a minute. Face up ones, you could take the first player marker, which will give you 2 points later. And then you can also take the cards. Once you take those and lay them down here, you can reserve one stamp except a rare stamp. Doesn't make sense thematically to me, but anyway, that's the rules. You can reserve one stamp here. Then you're going to separate your stamps that you've taken into 2 different piles. Then in the swap phase, you're going to take a pile from someone else, or they're going to take a pile from you. That's why this reserve comes into play. It's the only one you get to keep, guaranteed. However, let's just say player 2 takes from player 1 and player 1 takes from player 2. Player 3 doesn't have anything taken from them. They just keep everything they've set up. So it could work in your favor. Now here's where some shenanigans come in. Because things that were face down stay face down, you have certain stamps that are just straight rare stamps with points on them. If they're face down, let's see if I can find one. Yeah. So if this is face down, no one knows that this is worth 12 points just sitting there. So this may be something where you put it by itself or you put it with some junk stamps face down to where people think, well, they don't want me to pick that, so I won't, or they want me to pick that, so I'll pick the other one, etc. And then you get to keep those points. You will keep whatever pile is left, so you can only be taken from once. You're going to get half of your stamps that you picked in the beginning. You just don't know which half you're going to get. You'll then place them on your board. And then after that, you're going to score at the show. Now, these have ticket tokens under them, and you have 3 tickets, which means you're only going to score 3 of these 4 different things, and these are different. They'll change each time you play. This will be the second most abundant color. Pick a theme, 3 points per stamp. Small squares, that's the small ones here. And then cancel stamps are going to have the cancel symbol in the top right. So you'll place those out. You'll pick which one you're going to score. Obviously, round 1, you're not going to score as much as you will in round 3, just the way that things ramp up, because you're going to be placing to kind of play towards these goals. Plus, you're going to have a permanent goal for the end of the game. So this would be complete edges, so things where there's no squares open on the edge. You'll then score all those points. The person with the most forever stamps gets 10 points. You'll get points per the stamp's value. Some of them are minuses, plus your rare ones. And then you will take any kind of specialist cards that have points on them, and then you'll play the person with the most points wins the game. That is how you play Stamp Swap. All right, so as you know, we do a rubric system here on the channel with a, set of 7 categories divided up, and we give a total score. I give a total score of those. So first up on that category list is concept. So the concept for me is an 8. Now, why is it this high, or in your opinion, this low? Well, to be fair, I like games where you're a fan of something, collecting something. So this one actually strikes my fancy. I'm not a philatelist. I don't go around and collect stamps, but I like the idea of people who do and really enjoy the notion of collecting stamps. I think that's a pretty cool thing. So concept's an 8. Board layout, also an 8. I like your player board. One thing I wish, though, that Penny Black does better is there was a ridge on the outside of this. They're just flat sheets, so it's easy for your tokens to get bumped really easily. So that is a little tricky. The center board is nice, though. It kind of has everything laid out, where you put your tickets, where you put everything, which actually will lead into more art direction and art in a little bit. But the mechanics of the game are 8.5. Now, here's why I really like this. Yes, you're collecting stamps from a big collection and putting them on your board, but there's one tweak to the middle of that that really changes this, and that would be the swap part. That's why it's called stamp swap. The first time you collect, you're collecting things that you know you're probably going to have to get rid of. -1. You can save one thing. So you're taking those in and you're separating them into 2 piles, and then you're taking from other people the stamps you need to fulfill your goals or goals of the round. So that's pretty cool. Art direction, it's an 8. Could be higher, could be lower, but the reason is, I know an 8's very high. So I don't even know if it's really fair to give it this, but because it does work and nothing gets in the way, there's not a lot of symbols. Everything kind of just makes sense. There's the board layout for the 3 rounds, and it shows you which round you're in, but there's really not a lot of symbols. So I kind of waffled a little bit, and I'll talk about it in the gameplay in a minute. The art, though, is a 9. I think the stamps look amazing. I think every little one of the stamps looks fantastic. I think the art on the board looks great. It's just got a really neat looking feel to it. It just has a good, it doesn't feel like, when you think of a post office, you think of like brutalist architecture, which is the worst. So I don't think of that, but I think of like, this is nice art style. I think it really looks good. So the art is 9. Plus we talked about components here. That component tray where you keep your tokens is so nice, especially if you discover it before you play it your first time. Instead of punching them all, leaving them on the table, and then realizing you have a nice organizer to put them in so you can just deal them from, instead of pulling them from piles that fall all over your table, if you hypothetically have a cat named Luna who likes to get on the table and fight every board game we own. So gameplay is a 9. I'm sorry, gameplay is a 7.5. Now this is a little lower than the mechanics because there's one thing that doesn't make sense. Now, if you were thematic, when things take you out of the theme for a minute, it drives me crazy. And here's the one thing I really think is crazy. There's a rule where in the swapping part, when you're going around and getting stamps, you can keep one. So thematically, what are you doing here? You're going to a stamp, convention, you're getting stamps you want, and then you're forced to trade. Now, why are you forced to trade? It doesn't make any sense. You have to trade. But you can save one. Well, you can't save a rare one, though. To me, that's the most theme-breaking thing, is why can't I save the rare one, the one that I want to keep? Now, yes, I know it would break the game points-wise and mechanics-wise, but theme-wise, I'm going to keep the rare one, but you can't do that. But it does mitigate this by giving you different specialist cards that you can take instead of tiles for your game that help you break the rules a little bit. So gameplay is really neat. I do wish that, I actually wish it was one more round longer, but it's actually a really, really solid game. Insert the solid snake meme. Rulebook's a 9. Can't say anything bad about this rulebook. Straightforward, teaches you the game really easily. The reference card's nice. The scoring's easy. All the scoring is on the board. So when the rule book is there, it's a really, really great rule book. 8.2 something is the total, round it down to an 8 for me, but just because the gameplay experience is fun. But I'm probably going to pick Penny Black over this one, even though I don't think I was doing the rubric system for that. But they're both very good games. They're both about stamps, both very fun. Let me know what your favorite stamp game is of the two in the comments below as well. So I'm Bryan Drake here on the Dice Tower. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, etc. at Dice Tower Bryan. This is Sunday. I will see you this week at Dice Tower West.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Bassel.